In every 4 years, whenever the Olympics arrive, our national sport, hockey, grabs the eyeballs of over 1 billion fans in the country. And this time too, the expectations are no different. In fact, it has only risen from Manpreet and Company as to whether India can finish its over 4-decade-long drought of winning a medal at the grandest stage of them all, the Olympics. Hello and welcome to TV9 Digital. I am your host Abhijit Singh Bhamra and I welcome you to this special of Target Tokyo. And to discuss more about the hockey team's dynamics, the composition, the inside stories, I have two very special guests with me. To my left, I have an Olympian, 1984 Los Angeles, India's goalkeeper, Mr. Romeo James. Mr. James, thanks a lot for coming to our studios and a warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks.
And to Romeo's left, we have TV9 Digital Sports Editor, Mr. Sandeep Mishra. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks, Abhijit.
So, last Friday, Hockey India announced a 16-member squad that will participate in the Tokyo Olympics next month. My first question to Romeo, sir. So, when the team was announced, what was your first reaction?
My first reaction was about the forward line.
All right.
We lacked little firepower in front. With SV Sunil and Akashdeep and Ramandeep being the backbone for the forward line for so many years. I don't know what the coach has thought about it. They could have included, because Olympics is a big stage,
Yes.
and you need experience at that stage, which Shamsher and other ones don't have. I hope so, they do well.
Yes.
But my first this thing was that.
Let me figure out the 16-member squad, or I'll rather name it out. The goalkeeper will be P.R. Srijesh. The defenders line consists of Harmanpreet Singh, Rupinder Pal Singh, Surendra Kumar, Amit Rohidas, Birendra Lakra, making a comeback to the team for the Olympics. Then in the midfielders, we have Hardik Singh, Manpreet Singh the captain, Vivek Sagar Prasad, Neelakanta Sharma, Sumit. As far as the forwards are concerned, we have Shamsher Singh, Dilpreet Singh, Gurjant Singh, Lalit Kumar Upadhyay and Mandeep Singh. Sandeep, after listening to this lineup, I'll ask the same question to you. What was your first reaction?
Well, my first reaction was pretty natural in terms of the composition of the team, of course. And I do agree with Romeo in a sense that, after having seen this team over the last 6 to 8 years, you do get a feeling that this particular forward line is slightly weakened up. You have a very solid midfield, you have a very, very solid defense out there. But you need to win games. You're not there out to do 0-0, 1-1 draws, and the Olympics normally are very close fought. So what will happen is that unless you have somebody who has guile, unless you have somebody who can hold the ball and figure out, make spaces for the other forwards, that's where probably I thought there was a weakness, especially with Akashdeep not in the team. I'm not only a fan of Akashdeep and his style of play, but I do believe he brings in a lot of positivity to the team whenever he has the ball. He creates space. And that's probably was the weakness when the team was announced.
Creates chances, that's what you meant. And just he spoke on Akashdeep saying a lot of Twitter was also set on fire regarding the Akashdeep's omission. And he's just 26-year-old. Out of which he has played 174 matches and has been representing India since 2012. So clearly, as you mentioned, that the lack of experience, Romeo, I'll come to you.
Yeah.
Clearly, you cannot just omit a guy unless he's suffering from a really serious injury or there's something wrong with the selection. So your take on Akashdeep?
I don't know what the coach has thought about it, but all the views of previous, we did keep on discussing about the team. Not player like other players and all ex-players. So at least in our opinion, he should have been in the team.
Right.
He should have been in the team.
And also Sandeep, about SV Sunil, we chatted a lot about SV Sunil and also the other omission, Ramandeep Singh as well. So clearly, in the absence of these three players, do you really see Indian team? I hope not, that getting hurt out there, because at the end, I would just like to quote famous athlete that you don't buy experience in the open markets, you rather gain it by playing it out there. And these guys have represented the country for 8-9 years. So clearly experience is something which Indian team should have looked into.
I think so. I think I think you need to look at it in a very different way also, that you have Sunil, you have Akashdeep and you have Ramandeep, who've not only proved themselves but have constantly scored. You know, Sunil is the kind of a guy who, once he has the ball, you have an entire opposition freewheeling going back, which means creating more space on the right or the left, wherever he is on the flanks. Now, I don't know whether they are injured or not.
Yeah.
That's where I probably agree with Romeo, is that we don't know what's really wrong. But if you just look at it from the experience point of view, and when you go into the Olympics, when you have in your pool Australia, you have Spain, you have Argentina, you have even have Japan, which you may feel is probably at the 14th or 15th FIH ranking, but they are no less. You know, we always, either we beat them by big margins or we have very close games. And one should understand that Japan is the Asian Games champion. India is not the Asian Games champion, and neither is Malaysia. So in that respect, I think experience counts when you're 1-1 in a very tight game, when you're 2-1 in a very tight game, when you're 2-2, and these 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2 situations are going to come in this game. Yeah. That's the reason why a lot of us were surprised that no Ramandeep, no Sunil and no Akashdeep to actually try and turn a game over. Turning a game over is required at the Olympic level.
Yeah. Is Romeo, I'll come to you. Is the glue missing? Is that's what the sir is pointing out over here. Is the glue missing in the midfield and also in the forward line? The midfield, can they create enough chances, and can the forward line, with the given players we have, can they convert it into goal? Because you will get very few chances out there. You are playing very strong teams. I'll just mention it. You are playing New Zealand, you're playing Australia, you're playing Spain, Argentina and Japan. So clearly the number of chances will be less and the conversion rate has to be really high.
Like Sandeep said, guile and running with the ball forward line. No? So how they create chances at in the opponent half, in the opponent 25 and this thing. That's what will make a lot of difference, you know. When the midfield is running with the ball and how you make space there to receive the ball and pass on. That will be a major factor, and I'm sure, because with Akashdeep or SV Sunil, like SV Sunil also we come to SV Sunil, because once he get the ball, then the whole other opponent, they are onto him, because he's the fastest, lightning as it. So somewhere, I hope so not, but somewhere it will.
Like we have talked enough about Sunil, about Akashdeep, the kind of players, now the team is decided, it's done and dusted, you cannot do anything about it. These players will be at home, these are the 16 that will travel. So in place of these players, experienced players, SV Sunil, Akashdeep, who are the players in the current lineup do you feel can actually play that kind of a role? I'm not trying to fill the shoes, but can play that kind of a role.
No, it's difficult when you say that a player is going to fill somebody else's shoes, because everybody comes in with their own style. You have Gurjant, who's a robust player, okay, but he's not somebody who has guile. You have Mandeep, who is exceptional, you know, in the striking circle, you'll always find him working hard, trying to figure out space, trying to get a ball. So all of these players have their qualities. Even Lalit, you know, we could have a difference because we usually have over Lalit. I always feel that, you know, he can create space, though of course Romeo says that he hangs on to the ball, which is also correct. You know, in a lot of matches you have seen Lalit hanging on to the ball, you know, and suddenly that space is over, you know, because the defense closes it. I think what is going to happen is that if, for example, if the forward line is not playing up to the mark, what will happen is that your half line is probably going to go play a little up. You might have Vivek going up a little, and Manpreet at times, you know, he virtually goes in to the striking circle. So these are the players who probably fill up.
Okay.
But having said that, we all hope that the forward line that has been created rather, or that has been selected, kind of comes good, because you need them to come good, because unless you score, and believe me, PCs are not always the answers.
Yeah.
They are already, they have understood Harmanpreet, they have understood Rupinder Pal and Amit Rohidas, your third flicker. So your goals have to come from field attempts, and that is where we all hope that this forward line clicks.
Right. Romeo, I would come to you. It's like a fan asking you.
Yeah.
Do you think this team will rather be able to defend well, or will be able to convert our chances well? After looking into the team sheet, do you think that we can defend well? Okay, fine. If we are not able to score, let's not the opposition score, so that we don't lose. But also at the same time, do you think this forward line has it in them to penetrate the opposition's defense and also create chances and plus convert it as well?
The defense is after all, they are the best. They will defend well,
Okay.
provided. See, you cannot
Sure.
defend all the time,
Yeah.
especially in hockey. And it's such a fast-paced game. Unless your forward and midfield are attacking or they're troubling the defense, the opponent, you cannot defend totally. They are good in defense. Their Harman is good. Only Rupinder Pal we are talking about with Sandeep. That once he goes, once he loses the ball, he's little slow to recover.
Let me shift the focus to Rupinder Pal Singh. He might still be one of the best when it comes drag flickers, and also penalty conversion rate might be high. But how do you rate his field play? Do you think it has deteriorated with time? Maybe it's a little slow. Maybe the movements have slowed down.
No, naturally, he's tall and he's injury prone. He's gone to a lot of injuries, and I must give credit to him that he's come back to the team.
But do you think the carrying out, taking someone who's injury prone might be too big a risk for a stage like Olympics?
But now, as we discussed, the team is announced.
The team is done and dusted, but
with Surinder there and Harman there and Viru there, and they can and Shirijesh calling at the back, because the main guy is Shirijesh. Once he calls, he controls all the whole of the defense, midfield and defense.
So Sandeep, are we carrying a lot of players who are injury prone and rather have the chances of breaking down during the Olympics?
I think to a large point we are also assuming what the coaching staff or the management has created a team. Birender, we know he was injured. He didn't play the last Olympics because he had a knee problem. Even in 2018, I still remember the third, fourth game for the bronze. He wasn't playing. He was sitting on the bench because he had a knee problem again. But when a player is selected, he's been cleared. So let us take it from that particular point that he is fit enough now. A fit Lakra is an exceptional player. Let's not take that away completely. In terms of Rupinder, it is not always about fitness. It's also his field play. I can compare it to Sandeep Singh. Flicker, great. But Sandeep was always, in my opinion, a bad field player. Sometimes you can get past him. You can't get past Rupinder in that sense, but Rupinder's fallback has, I wouldn't say faulty, it's slow.
Okay.
So in today's hockey, when Australia does a counter-attack, or when Spain counter-attacks, or when Argentina even counter-attacks, they counter-attack a little less. But when they counter-attack with incredible pace. And that is where they may be found wanting. But having said that again, you have Harmanpreet, very solid. You have Surinder, extremely solid. And a Lakra, fit Lakra, is virtually two good defenders in that team. So in that way, I think we are shored up. It's only as we started off saying, it's probably only the forward line that seems a little weak, that's all.
Right. Ramya, another topic of discussion over here is no backup for a goalkeeper, PR Srijesh. Yes, we also have one backup player in the standbys, but we are assuming that Srijesh will be fit right through the tournament. But what if an injury comes in? Who will be your player who will replace Srijesh then and there?
Again, it's because last Olympics also we went with one goalkeeper, Shirijesh, and second goalkeeper was Vikas Dahiya. So this time also, most of the teams are doing the same thing. But
this time we have Krishan Bahadur Pathak as the standby.
As a standby, he is going, and Simran in forward line, Simarjeet in a half line. Oh, sorry, midfield and half line, forward line, Simranjeet and what's his name? Varun as this thing. So in case Shirijesh gets injured, which I hope so not. I hope they give permission for Krishan Pathak.
Right. Do you feel he is still as good a goalkeeper as he was 5 years back in 2016?
I do believe that he's not as agile as he used to be.
Okay.
But more than agile, I think there are times when you can actually see that his placing in front of the goal, the way he moves, is not as fast as he used to be. And I'll just go back 2 years, 2018 quarterfinal against Holland. Those particular 2 goals, you might feel this is criticism against a goalkeeper. I don't. I think he was out of position when those goals came in. We lost that game 2-1 after leading 1-0. Yeah. But Srijesh has slowed down.
Okay.
Number one, his reflexes, by the way, in the shootout are excellent. So I'm just talking of field play here. I'm not talking of a dead ball situation where he's taking a shootout, where he's
the best.
He's the best. But in a field play situation, there are times when you can see that his movement has slowed down. Now, how does the defense react to that? How Srijesh reacts to that? And what has happened in the training camp in the last 6 months, we don't know. exceptionally, yes, he is there right at the top of the pile of at least top 4 goalkeepers in the world, and one hopes that he keeps playing with that kind of form.
Right. Another topic over here which we'll be discussing is the 10 debutants will be making their debut at the grandest stage of them all. Mind you, they have already played for India, but this will be the first time they'll be representing India at the Olympics. Amit Rohidas, the defender, Hardik Singh, Vivek Sagar Prasad, Neelkant Sharma, Sumit, all midfielders, Shamsher Singh, Dilpreet Singh, Gurjant Singh, Lalit Kumar Upadhyay and Birendra Lakra, the defenders. Playing at the Olympics is a huge honor, but at the same time, if you win it, nothing like it. And you were a part of the side who finished 5th, I remember, in 1984, but regarded as one of the best Indian teams to have played in the Olympics. So how do you see these 10 players making their debut, and will the pressure of playing their maiden Olympics get to them?
See, as far as Hardik and these guys are concerned, midfield also, the youngsters are good.
Okay.
There's Sumit and they're good. They're the best in India. And Dilpreet, forward line, he's very talented, very, very talented. And Lalit Upadhyay is good, plus matured. I hope Shamsher puts in. So we, again, we come to the same point that 16 are there.
Cannot be changed.
So Shamsher, I haven't seen him play because he wasn't there for the junior also, couldn't get selected. But last 2 years he came. Last 2 years he came for the camp and all. But he played here with us, and he hasn't impressed me that much. But what the coaching staff and that time, what they are thinking about to replace him, I hope they play well.
Sandeep, in 2016, our current coach, Graham Reid, was the coach of the Australian team, and also at that time as well, there was quite a row, if I can put that way, about the kind of players which they picked, experienced versus inexperienced. So do you see this selection in the Indian team an extension of that?
No, I wouldn't say it's an extension. I mean, it's an argument that sits well at this point of time. I mean, when you look at Graham Reid and the kind of team he selected as Australia coach, and it didn't work out. Right. You know, that team was also exceptional. I mean, they had some fantastic players. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, a couple of draws, a loss that shouldn't have come through. But talking about hockey as a sport, it is the coach's selection. You know, you might have a selection committee out there. With all due respect to all the selectors there, it's actually the coach who decides what he wants to take and what he wants to pick. It's not a captain's team, it's a coach's team. It's always decided on the kind of pool you have. It's always decided on which is the first game you're going to play, which is the second, which is the third. We from the outside sometimes believe that it's the first game, it's the second game, it's the third game. It's not like that. The preparations for the first, second, third, fourth, fifth games are done 8 months in advance, looking at the teams that are being formed and might be formed. I think the entire selection process, whatever Graham has done, he has done looking at the teams he's going to face. I think when we speak about Shamsher, I honestly haven't seen him really play in that sense to really give an answer out here. But I think, and I just think here as an assumption, that maybe Graham has picked him for some kind of defensive ability of falling back. I think that's probably the reason that a lot of forwards have the ability to fall back nowadays. It's no more a left in, right in, centre forward game. You know, 60s, 70s, 80s are over. Now it's a complete total hockey that's happening. And I think Shamsher probably fits into Graham Reid's kind of tactical play in some way or the other. Otherwise, why you should pick a player like that, you know?
Right.
So when I say pick a player like that, I don't mean in a weakness form. I'm just saying somebody you really haven't seen or heard of.
Right. Like Sandeep said that, you know, it's a coach's team.
Yeah.
So do you really see Graham Reid into Indian hockey to that extent that he can really go and tell the selectors, or rather tell the selectors, these are the boys which I'm looking forward to, and these are the ones I want, and these are the ones who might be a little dicey?
I'm very sure about it. That's why he said, when he gave a statement, that the players, those who are omitted, I feel so sorry for them, you know, because Olympics comes once in a lifetime and they'll be out of the team. So it was very difficult when he said statement for me to omit them. No?
Yeah, true.
So he must have selected the best.
I'll ask you the golden question. Do you think we have it in us to win, or rather end a podium finish?
We are going for a podium finish.
Right.
Hope so. But again, like as we said, first game, second game, third game. First you have to see that, and then again the coach decides in the semi-final or in the quarter-final whom we are playing. So it, again, a lot of ifs and buts. This team
is definitely going for the medal.
Has the potential of getting a medal.
Sandeep, can we finish? Can we have a top 3 finish, or rather end our medal drought after 41 long years? It has been quite a while.
I think after a long time, I mean, there's a genuine hope.
Okay.
I mean, whether it was 16 or 12 or 8, we didn't qualify, 2004, and most of the Olympics or wherever I've covered, there was this hope which was distant, you know. Oh, if a couple of matches go our way. But here there is genuine hope, and I'm not saying this because we are 5th in the FIH ranking. I'm saying this because a lot of coaches worldwide, which also includes Japan's Eichmann, also includes Shane McLeod from Belgium. So even last year when I was having a conversation with Shane, and I said, so give me the 2 finalists. So he says it's India, Belgium in the final.
Wow.
It's going to be fantastic if it is that. But you know, to reach that point also, there are a lot of ifs and buts. And looking at the team's performance, I think if we are looking at a top 4, I think that's probable. And that seems a little believable now, looking just by going by the form and the way they have performed in the last 2 years.
Well, history always tells you that there is a chance to rewrite history books. On that note, gentlemen, thanks a lot for talking to us and coming to our studios. Well, it has been 41 long years or 4 decades, and India still awaits their first medal at the grandest stage of them all. As Sandeep said, there is a hope, more than hope. There is an expectation, not just from we, the fans out there, but also from the former greats as well. Can India do it? Well, over 1 billion fans in the country will be hoping that this time, 2021 is the year when we finally end that drought. On that note, this is what we have in the special edition for you, but we'll be continuing our Target Tokyo special right through till the Olympics. So, for all the news and updates, please continue to watch TV9 Digital. Thanks a lot for watching.